Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we extract the most important nuggets of knowledge to make you well-informed, with hopefully a few surprises along the way.
Mhm.
Today, we're plunging into something that's, well, it's already woven pretty deeply into our daily lives. AI-powered virtual assistants. I mean, think about it, Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant. They've completely changed how we interact with tech. Made things easier, a lot of the time.
Oh, absolutely. It's true. From, setting a timer to playing your favorite playlist, they are just everywhere now. They've definitely shifted our expectations, haven't they, about how technology should serve us. We've moved from just basic commands to, well, more natural conversations.
Yeah, that idea of natural conversation and also bespoke solutions, that really clicks because here's where it gets really interesting for today's deep dive. Our mission is to sort of pull back the curtain on building your own AI virtual assistant. Yes, you heard that right. An assistant tailored exactly to your specific needs. And the best part, you really don't need to be some kind of coding genius to make it happen.
Exactly. And it's not just like a fun side project either, although it can be. What's really transformative here is the scale and the accessibility. I mean, the AI assistant market, it's projected to hit over, what, $10 billion in 2025? That's huge.
Wow, $10 billion.
Yeah, and this boom isn't because of some secret, super complex tech only a few labs have. It's actually driven by these incredibly accessible generative AI models from places like OpenAI, which means, whether you're just curious about AI, maybe fiddling around, or you're a seasoned pro looking to use these tools in your business, this deep dive is going to show you just how within reach the stuff actually is now.
Okay, so what does this all mean for you, our listener, tuning in right now? By the end of this, you're not just going to understand the basics, the foundations, the tools involved. We think you'll actually gain the confidence to build maybe a basic prototype pretty quickly. We're talking about going from just using AI passively to actively creating with it.
Yeah, it's really about empowerment through knowledge, isn't it? Letting you move beyond just using the standard off-the-shelf stuff and into creating something truly unique, something that fits your specific world like a glove.
Okay, hey, let's dig into that idea of bespoke a bit more. The power of personalization. I mean, why would someone really want to build their own AI assistant when there are, let's face it, some pretty excellent options already out there? It has to be more than just convenience, right?
Oh, absolutely. Way beyond convenience. The real power here isn't just, making things slightly easier. It's about shifting from passively using these general tools to actively creating something bespoke, molding the tech to solve your unique problems. Imagine, like, you're a small business owner, right? And you're constantly getting hammered with the same customer questions, delivery times, product details, whatever.
Yeah, I can picture that.
A generic assistant, well, it might tell you the weather, maybe play some music. But a custom one, it can actually solve that specific pain point. Answer those repetitive questions. Free up your time. That's the difference.
That's a great example. So for that small business owner, or really for anyone starting this, the first critical step, maybe even before thinking about the tech, is defining its purpose. Like, what exactly is this assistant going to do?
Exactly. Nail on the head. You need to clearly articulate its role, its mission. Is it going to handle customer queries for an online store? Maybe identify technical issues folks are having with a product? Or, I don't know, maybe handle the first steps of an insurance claim? The more precise you are right at the beginning, the better your assistant will be. That initial clarity, it shapes everything else.
And it's not just what it does, but also how it interacts, right?
Right.
You mentioned thinking about the audience, like, is it for entrepreneurs, students, your family, and then giving it a personality? I love that idea. Like making it empathetic and professional for customer service. Or maybe something more fun and quirky for a personal task manager.
That's exactly right. The personality, it really enhances the user interaction profoundly. It turns a purely functional tool into something more engaging, more user-friendly, almost like adding a bit of a human touch,
Right.
A well-defined persona makes it approachable, effective for the people it's meant for, and honestly, it can really make it stand out from those generic one-size-fits-all assistants.
Okay, and for those of us listening who are now thinking, right, I want to try this.
Yeah.
You mentioned rapid prototyping. So for our small business owner example, how quickly could they actually get something, tangible up and running?
Very quickly, actually. Surprisingly quickly. You can literally start prototyping rapidly using tools that are readily available, like OpenAI's ChatGPT. The process is, well, it's pretty straightforward. You set up an account. You can get a free API key just for testing.
A free key. Nice.
Yeah. And you can just start experimenting with its capabilities almost immediately. This lets you iterate fast, see what works, what doesn't before you, invest a ton of time or money. It's kind of like sketching out an idea before you commit to the full painting.
That's fantastic. A free API key for testing really does lower the barrier to entry for pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say we've got our purpose nailed down, maybe even a personality sketched out. What's in the AI toolkit? What are the actual technologies, the components we're talking about?
Well, what's really exciting now is that you've got a whole spectrum of solutions. You can pick and choose depending on how complex you want to get. It ranges from like completely no-code options that empower pretty much anyone to build something,
Hmm.
all the way to more custom programming if you need something really intricate or tailored. It's about choosing the right level for your project.
Okay, let's start with that no-code magic you mentioned.
Yeah.
That sounds like exactly what a lot of listeners might be keen on, especially if they're just starting out.
For sure. Yeah, for those who want to skip the coding part entirely, there's this feature in ChatGPT Plus called Create New GPT. It's almost like having a smart assistant help you build your assistant. It's pretty meta.
Right, yeah.
You basically just give it detailed instructions in plain English, tell it how to behave, what it should do. You can even upload resources like databases, documents, FAQs, and then ChatGPT uses all that info to configure your custom AI assistant, all without you typing a single line of code. It's incredibly powerful for custom stuff like that small business owner building an FAQ bot we talked about.
That really is a game changer for accessibility. It means you can focus on the what and the why of your assistant, not get totally bogged down in the how of the code. But okay, for those who maybe do want to peek under the hood a bit or need more control, what are the core AI components? What actually makes these things tick?
Right, so getting a bit more technical. At the heart of it, you've got natural language processing, NLP. Think of NLP as like the assistant's language teacher. It's grammar expert. Tools, often Python libraries like Spacy or NLTK, maybe transformers, they help the AI break down sentences, figure out the meaning, identify key bits of info, like recognizing London as a place or iPhone as a product. We call those entities. It can even figure out the sentiment, if you sound happy or frustrated. It's how the assistant understands what you're saying.
Got it. So that's the understanding part.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the actual responses, the part that sounds human.
Yeah, for generating those intelligent human-like responses, you're typically looking at powerful AI models. GPT-4 is a common example. These are like the creative engines, the brains, generating relevant text based on the input. And for more niche applications, maybe you want the AI to run directly in your web browser, not on a server somewhere. There are options like transformers.js. It lets you run certain models locally right on the user's machine, which is pretty neat for privacy and speed.
Okay, so we have the brain, the understanding part,
Yeah.
but we also need a way for the assistant to actually talk to us or for us to interact with it. What are the options there, the interfaces?
Oh, loads of options for interfaces,
Oh.
really varied. You can build simple web chat bots using frameworks like, say, Flask in Python, basically gives your assistant a home on a web page. Or if you want wider reach, you could hook it up to popular messaging apps like WhatsApp. Services like Twilio help manage that connection.
Ah, Twilio, right.
Yeah, they handle the messaging pipeline. And if you're thinking about a dedicated mobile app, well, frameworks like Flutter let you build apps for both iOS and Android with your AI assistant built right in.
And voice. Because, so many assistants now are voice first,
Yeah.
like talking to Alexa or Siri. How does that part work?
Right, voice integration usually involves two key pieces. First, you need something for voice to text, a library like speech recognition in Python, that's the assistant's ears, basically, turns your spoken words into text. Then you need the opposite, text-to-voice synthesis, something like POTOS 3, that's the assistant's mouth, its digital vocal cords, turns the AI's text response into spoken words you can hear. Those two together really bring the conversational aspect to life.
Okay, so we have the purpose, the toolkit.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's actually talk about bringing it to life, step by step. How easy, or maybe how hard, is it to create just a basic functional assistant using a little bit of Python?
Honestly, it's remarkably straightforward for a basic version. You can get something functional going with just a handful of Python lines. First, you install the OpenAI library. Simple command like pip install OpenAI. Then you use a function, something like openai.chatcompletion.create, tell it which model to use, maybe GPT 3.5 Turbo to start. You give it a prompt like tell me a fun fact about penguins, and bam, it handles generating the response. It's a really accessible starting point if you're okay with a little bit of scripting.
That's great. It sounds like getting that core intelligence running isn't too intimidating. But what about taking that basic Python brain and connecting it to something people actually use every day, like WhatsApp? How does that connection work?
Right. Connecting it to something like WhatsApp, that's where it gets really powerful for, say, our small business owner example. It massively extends the reach. So the process usually involves registering with a communication platform like Twilio, as we mentioned. You link a phone number to it. Then you typically use a web framework, maybe Flask. It's like a lightweight toolkit for building web apps in Python. This Flask app sits there, listens for incoming messages from WhatsApp via Twilio. When a message comes in, the Flask app sends it off to OpenAI to get an intelligent reply. Then it sends that AI-generated reply back through Twilio out to the user on WhatsApp. And to keep it running all the time, you'd deploy that Flask app on a server, maybe using a service like Heroku.
Okay, that sounds like a really potent mix for things like customer service bots or automated reminders.
Hmm.
Allows that business owner to maybe sleep a bit better knowing queries being handled. But what if you want something different? Like running an assistant directly in a web browser without needing an external server or even WhatsApp. Is that feasible?
Yeah, that's actually a pretty innovative area right now. You can build an assistant that runs right inside the browser. You'd use standard web tech, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, but pair it with a library like transformers.js. The core idea involves using something called a web worker. Think of it as like a background script in the browser. This web worker can actually run a smaller AI model, like maybe Pythia 31M, directly on the user's computer or phone. So the AI processing happens locally, not on some remote server.
Wow. Okay. What's the advantage there?
The big benefits are usually enhanced privacy because the data doesn't have to leave the device, potentially faster responses because there's less network lag, and potentially lower server costs for the developer.
That sounds like a massive win, especially for privacy-sensitive applications. So after all this building and connecting, testing and optimization must be super important, right? You need to make sure your assistant is actually, well, helpful and not annoying.
Oh, absolutely critical. Yeah. This brings up a key point. How do you make sure it's actually effective, accurate? You've got to test it rigorously, throw different scenarios at it, measure how accurate and relevant its responses are. And to make it even more useful, you can integrate external APIs. Like you could connect it to OpenWeather to get real-time weather data. Imagine a travel assistant that doesn't just understand your requests, but can also pull in current flight statuses or gate changes.
Okay, yeah, that adds real value.
Exactly. And businesses often take this further, integrating these smarter bots into platforms they already use, like Microsoft Teams, for seamless internal stuff or even customer interactions.
Right. So once it's built, tested, maybe enhanced with APIs, it's time for deployment and the ongoing care, right? How do we
Yeah.
scale these things up? What if our small business owner's bot goes viral and suddenly gets thousands of messages a day?
Yeah, scalability is key if you expect growth or high volume. For that, deploying your assistant on robust cloud platforms, think AWS, Google Cloud, Azure, is pretty much essential. These platforms provide the underlying infrastructure, the computing power, the databases, everything needed to handle big spikes in demand efficiently. Keeps your assistant responsive even when it gets slammed.
And it's definitely not a build it once and walk away kind of deal, is it? That ongoing care seems vital for it to stay useful.
Not at all. No, you absolutely have to keep an eye on it. Continuous monitoring of how it's being used is critical. What are people asking? Where is it struggling? Are there patterns? And you need regular updates. Feed the AI model new data, maybe retrain it periodically. This ensures it stays accurate, relevant, improves over time. Maybe your business adds new products or a user needs change. The assistant has to keep up. It's an ongoing refinement process.
Okay, so beyond the nuts and bolts, the tech side, what's the bigger picture here? What's the real value proposition of putting in all this effort for businesses or even individuals?
The core benefits, they're really transformative when you think about it. You're automating repetitive tasks, which frees up human time for more complex things. You're significantly improving how humans and machines interact, making it smoother, more intuitive. And ultimately, this can generate substantial economic value. You mentioned a stat earlier. Responsible AI adoption can potentially cut response times by, what was it, 70%?
Yeah, 70%, that's huge.
It is. And that 70% reduction, it's not just about speed for speed's sake. It's about fundamentally changing that moment of truth in customer service. Getting quick, relevant answers can turn frustration into loyalty. It sets a new bar for how brands interact and how agile they can be. It's about doing more, faster, and often with better quality.
Wow, a 70% reduction, that really puts it into perspective. And looking even further ahead, what's the future hold? Are we heading towards, I don't know, science fiction territory here?
Well, connecting this to the bigger trends, the future seems to be moving rapidly towards multimodal AI. which basically means assistants won't just deal with text or voice. They'll understand and process images, video, maybe other sensor data too. Imagine an assistant, maybe for home repair, that can see a photo of a broken pipe you upload, hear your description of the leak, and then maybe show you a video tutorial on how to fix it.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's leading towards much more immersive, much more intuitive experiences that mimic how humans naturally interact with the world, really blurring the lines between the digital and the physical.
That sounds incredibly powerful, almost like something out of a movie becoming real.
Hmm.
Now, okay, as with any powerful tech, there's got to be challenges, right? Hurdles to navigate. What are some of the practical difficulties we need to keep in mind when building our own AI assistants? And how do we actually tackle them?
Yeah, absolutely. While the potential is huge, we definitely need to be realistic about the hurdles. First off, technical complexity. It can still seem pretty daunting, especially for beginners. The solution there, like we discussed, is often to start simple. Use those no-code platforms like the custom GPT feature. It dramatically lowers the entry barrier, lets you focus on the idea first, not the complex code.
Right. And privacy, security, those are always huge concerns, especially with AI processing potentially sensitive data.
Paramount, yeah. You absolutely cannot overlook data privacy and security, especially if you're handling sensitive user information. This means things like robust data encryption, both when data is moving and when it's stored. And you absolutely need to comply with data protection laws like GDPR or whatever is relevant where you operate. It's fundamental for building user trust.
Okay, what about the cost factor? These powerful AI models, they aren't always cheap to run, are they?
That's a very fair point. Paid APIs, especially the top tier ones like GPT-4, they can get expensive if you have high usage. The costs can add up quickly. So a practical approach is maybe start with more cost-effective options like GPT 3.5 Turbo is often cheaper. Or, depending on your needs, explore open source models. There are some really good ones out there now that can be much more budget-friendly for certain applications. It's about balancing performance and cost.
And accuracy. We hear a lot about AI sometimes making things up or being biased. How do we make sure our assistant is actually reliable?
Yeah, that's a really important one for anyone building these. How do you ensure reliability? We have to acknowledge AI models can sometimes generate incorrect or biased responses, hallucinations, they sometimes call it. So the strategies to mitigate that involve using personalized training data, if possible, to fine-tune the model's understanding for your specific domain. And crucially, implementing human validation or human-in-the-loop processes, especially for critical tasks. Have real people review the AI's outputs, correct them. That helps ensure the information is trustworthy.
Right, having that human oversight. And what if your assistant really takes off? Scalability could suddenly become a problem, couldn't it? You don't want it falling over just when it gets popular.
Precisely. Yeah, if you design an assistant hoping it will handle a lot of users or interactions, you need to plan for scaling from the start. That means investing in that robust cloud infrastructure we talked about, AWS, Google Cloud, etc. Make sure the system can grow smoothly as demand increases, without the performance tanking or the user experience suffering. Build for tomorrow, not just for launch day.
And one last challenge, maybe a broader one. Ethics. Ensuring the design itself is fair.
Absolutely. Ethical design is crucial. It means being mindful of potential biases in the data you use to train the AI and actively working to avoid embedding those biases into the assistant's responses. Designing with diversity and fairness in mind from the outset is not just good practice, it's an ethical imperative.
Wow. What an incredible deep dive into building your own AI virtual assistant. We've really covered the gamut, haven't we? From figuring out the why, the purpose, to the nitty-gritty tech stack deployment, and those really important practical ethical considerations. It seems clear that building your own AI assistant, it's not just accessible now, thanks to these modern tools, but it also holds just profound potential for innovation, for personalization in almost, well, every part of our lives. And that accessibility piece, that's what's really democratizing this tech, isn't it? It's moving it out of just specialized labs and into the hands of really anyone with a specific problem they want to solve, letting you shape the technology to fit your needs. So as we wrap up today, let's leave you, our listener, with maybe a provocative thought to chew on. With AI advancing so rapidly and these powerful tools becoming so much easier to use, what unique human-machine interactions could you design? Something maybe nobody's even thought of yet. How could you use this tech to solve a problem that's totally unique to your world, really pushing beyond what current assistants can do? The possibilities, they feel pretty endless right now, and they're kind of waiting for you to create them.
Yeah, go forth and build something cool.
Thank you so much for joining us on The Deep Dive. We'll catch you next time.